we're pulling up to a smaller side event called Security B-Sides at the Tuscany. These events all have really, really strict press rules. You can't film faces, you gotta film towards the ground, you can't film screens. A lot of this information that they're giving out is really, really sensitive, and attaching someone's identity to the security research can get them killed or in serious trouble, so we're gonna be really careful and work with them on making this right. For me in media, the first time we really heard about it was when Andy Greenberg did that first run with Charlie and Chris 2 years ago.
Exactly 2 years ago.
And they hardlined in.
Yeah,
right?
they were directly touching the canvas with physical access. The difference this year is a lot of the car companies wouldn't act like, well, if you have physical access, you could strap dynamite to slash the tires. So what they did with this more recent one is they shattered that excuse for good now. It was an unaltered vehicle, remotely done. And the thing is, while they're telling us that no one could do this without physical access, they kept adding more and more and more remote access tricks, right? So you have Bluetooth, you have tire pressure sensors, you have the progressive dongles that go in the OBD2 port, you have a USB port for your devices, you have the App Store that can have bad apps, you have the 4G LTE Wi-Fi hotspot. There's so many remote attack surfaces.
Would you say in the past couple of years it's become easier than ever to remotely hack into a car?
Yeah, the number of remote access options has grown. The lines of code that are potentially vulnerable has grown. I don't want to have to depend on the kindness of every human on Earth. I'd rather that they couldn't hurt me, not hope that they wouldn't hurt me.
That was fun. Now let's go check out I Am Cavalry.
We're in a really bad state, right? There are prone, hackable, unpatchable vehicles in the field right now. Do you know, one of the Senate staffers told me that, Josh, the automotive industry is a double-digit part of the U.S. economy, and if there's any crisis of confidence in the public to buy new cars, it could have a material impact on U.S. GDP. And 1 in 9 Americans is employed directly or indirectly in the automotive or automotive service industry. And you could do tremendous economic damage to the U.S. with one high-profile, scary attack. There was no money in the Charlie Hebdo attacks. There was no money in the Boston Marathon bomber. There was no money in the kid shooting up his school at Sandy Hook. If you're depending on 100% of humanity being discreet enough and careful enough and kind enough not to hurt you, I think we're going to be disappointed.
So that's Charlie and Chris, superstars here in car hacking. They did this security stunt where Andy Greenberg, the journalist, had his car shut down on the highway. And there's been a lot of contentious debate. Whatever the issue might be, it got a ton of attention for car hacking. And it really pulled it to the forefront and made it a serious issue. So right now, these guys are the superstars.
All right, so let's get a little gritty here. Charlie.
Yeah.
Stunt hacking with the car.
Stunt hacking rule.
Okay.
It worked, right? And you can't argue with that.
So do you feel like it had to be on a highway to get that effect? I mean,
yes.
Last year we had a discussion where you almost ended up in an accident.
Yeah, so
and that really could hurt someone. Like, why?
Listen, 6 months before this thing happened, on 60 Minutes, they did exactly the same thing with Wesley Stalls driving in a fucking parking lot with cones. And guess what happened? Nothing, right? But all of a sudden you get on a highway and people are like, oh shit, like that could have been me.
Whether or not you think that crossed the line, if this is the new normal, what is the line?
You know what the line is? Make it so your devices can't be used to hurt somebody. And then you don't have to worry about a researcher crossing the line, right? So don't put this problem on individuals, because that's hurting cats. You will not be able to solve that problem. Instead, make your system so where someone can't get hurt. And you don't have to worry about whether someone wants to cross the line or not.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the
That's the way to end it right there.
This is just the beginning of this week here, and what we're going to see. And
It's
what
going to
we're
be
hear.
exciting. This is why it's the heartbeat of the hacking community, right?
Yeah.
So much stuff happens in this one hacker summer camp week. You know, the one at Black Hat's going to be more corporate and a bit more professional in tone. DEF CON's going to be the bizarre where you have a motley crew of people like the NSA and foreign national intelligence officers.
The EFF and the NSA
and
next to each other.
Right, exactly. So, I mean, this is the week where, you know, I think it diminishes it to call it the CES of hacking. It's more like the Burning Man. You know, I think we were talking about this earlier. Like, there's that scene in the movie Constantine where they're in a bar, or like a nightclub, and there's angels and demons not fighting but drinking and dancing together. And it's this very strange mashup.
This was epic. There's more to come. You're around at DEF CON and Black Hat and all that stuff, right?
Can't miss it.
All right, so we're leaving the event now, and it was really interesting to hear this debate amongst these all-star hackers. You know, what this guy did, Charlie Miller, is he brought a car onto a public highway and compromised it. Potentially very dangerous. But the aftermath of this was that 1.4 million vehicles were recalled, and a lot of people are saying that could save lives. So I want to know what you guys think. Is the risk worth the reward? How should we feel about someone going onto the highway and making, you know, bystanders unwilling participants in this stunt? Is it worth the fact that all of these vehicles are recalled and it may very well save lives? Comment below. Make sure to follow me on Twitter at Timcast. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. If you like the video, click the like button, share it with your friends. We've got so much more coming from Las Vegas, these big hacker conventions. So thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you all next time. There's a bunch of artifacts and